In this video, we're going to go through on Nanyang Primary School Primary 5 Weighted Assessment Term 1 Mathematics. If you want to find more exam papers like this, you can go to easy1.sg/SG exam. So let's get started on the first question. Alright, question number 1. Which of the following is 5,306,218 in numerals? So let's copy all of this down and let's go through each of the different, I would say, parts of the words here. Okay, so 5 million, I think it's pretty straightforward. All the options are 5 million, which is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. Then the next one is we have 306,000. So we just put 306 or 306 and then we put 3 zeros at the back. And lastly, we have 218. So 218 will look something like this. So in the end, the answer will be equal to 5 million and then plus 306,000 plus 218. Alright, so what will this look like? So all of this is 5 million. So we have 306,000, which is second option. Same goes to the third option. The last thing that we need to look out for is 218, which is basically option number 2. Okay, and that's the answer for question number 1. Question number 2. In 94,387, which digit is in the thousands place? Okay, so let's go over each of the different digits. So let's start with the 7. So the 7 over here is the ones place. Then the 8 is in the tens place. Then the 3 is in the hundreds place. Then in the 4, this should be the thousands place. And lastly, the 9 should be the 10,000s place. That's what I see over here. So what place are we looking for? The thousands place. So this is number 4 in this case over here. Alright, let's move on to the next question number 3. What is the value of 56 minus bracket 9 plus 7 bracket divided by 8 times 2? So this is what we call the order of operations. Okay, so first we need to have the brackets. Okay, and then second we will have the multiply or divide, and lastly third we will have add or subtract. So in this case, with this equation, what do you think we need to do first? So if you think we need to do the brackets, then you're right. Okay, so in this case we need to do what's inside the brackets. So in this case, 9 plus 7, what do you think it's equal to? This will equal to 16. So now the next thing, there's no more brackets, then we'll go for the multiply or divide. So this is also from left to right. Okay, so this one, we'll just say left to right over here. Same goes to add or subtract. Okay, so it's a easier and safer way to do this kind of order of operations. So 16 divided by 8, then this is where we will just have 16 divided by 8. This will give us 2. And then 2 times 2, this will give us 4. That means 56 minus 4, and this will give us 52. Right? And that is option number 2. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Question number 4. Find the value of 502 times 800. So 502 times 800. So let me just copy this down and paste this over here. So 502 times 8 is actually the same as if you were to write this down, right? Times, okay, 100 times 8, something like this, right? 8 times 100, or in this case, I think the easier one would actually be bracket 500 plus 2 times 800. Okay, simpler. So in this case, this will just be 500 times 800 plus 2 times 800. Okay, so in this case, 500 times 800. So if you don't know how to do this, you can just go and see 5 times 8. This will give us 40. And then you just add the zeros at the end. So we need to add 1, 2, 340. So 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So this will give us 400,000. And then plus 2 times 800. And this will give us 1,600. And now if we will add this together, this will give us 400 and 1,600. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 5. At first, Mrs. Quack had 600 tarts. She gave 180 tarts to Madam Raju and received 100 tarts from Miss City. She then packed all the tarts into bags of 20 tarts. How many such bags of tarts did Mrs. Quack have in the end? So in this case over here, right, Mrs. Quack, right, at first has 600 tarts. Then she gave away 180 tarts to Madam Raju. So remaining after giving to Madam Raju will be equal to 600 minus 180, and this will give us 420. So do your workings to make sure to get this right. Then after that, she received 100 tarts. So after receiving, right? Receiving my spelling, receiving 100 tarts, right? From from ROM, Miss City. Basically, we have the remaining 420 plus 100. This will give us 520. So now she then packed all the tarts into 20 bags. Okay, so one bag is equal to, or 20 tarts is equal to one bag. And then 520 tarts is basically 520 divided by 20. And this will give us 26 bags in this case over here. So the answer to this question is 26. All right, there you go. That's the answer for question number 5. Let's move on to question number 6. Okay, question 6. Kevin had some clips, marbles, and stickers. He had 294 clips. He had 7 times as many clips as marbles. He had half as many stickers as clips. How many more stickers than marbles did he have? So let's write down what we know. Clips is equal to 294. So the next statement says, he had 7 times as many clips as marbles. So that means marbles is, so clips, let's say, is equal to 7 times of marbles. So in this case, we can say that clips is technically, or marbles is equal to clips, then divide by 7. So from here, we can just convert this, right, into 294 divided by 7. Okay, 294 divided by 7. So in this case, if I were to do my way of doing things, basically 294 is 280 plus 14. So I usually break down, divided by 7. Okay, so in this case, it will be 280 divided by 7 plus 14 divided by 7. Okay, and this case, this will be 40 plus 2, which is 42. Okay, so now we know that we have 42 marbles. Okay, the next part is he had half as many stickers as marbles. So what does this mean? So this means that stickers is equal to half of clips. Okay, and we know that clips over here is basically half of 294. So half times 294, which is basically 294 divided by 2. Same thing. Half times 294 is the same as 294 divided by 2. And what will this give us? So let me just also do my magic. Not magic, but it's just, shortcut. So 280 plus 14, right? And then we divided by 2 in this case over here. So that means 280 divided by 2 plus 14 divided by 2. So in this case will be 140 plus 7. This will give us 147. Okay, so these are stickers. So we know that marbles is 42, and so marbles is 42, stickers is 147. So difference, basically, difference is equal to 147. How many more stickers? Minus 142, and this will give us 105. Okay, so that means the answer is option number 2. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 7. What is the missing number in the pattern below? 950, 947, 941, so forth and so on. Okay, so I don't know why there's a full stop, but yeah, this is just a comma, so just ignore that. Okay, so from here, we can write down 950 to 947. So this is basically from 950 to 947. What do? We will just, in this case, we will actually bracket minus 3. And this will give us 947. Okay, so that's the first one. Okay, what about 947 to 941? Okay, what do we do from 947 to 941? 1, so what do we minus? We minus 3. I mean, not 3. We minus 6. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. 941 to 950. 950. Okay, now it's a bit different. 941 to 950 is plus 9. Okay, so from 941 to 950 is plus 9. Let's move to the next one. 950 to 938. So it's a bit different. Okay, is it plus? No, it's minus. But what do you think we minus? Minus 12. Then let's go to 938. Okay, 38 to 923. Right, so what is the difference? Okay, so 938 to 923. If you guess 9, 12, 15, you're right, minus 15. And then from 923, okay, 923 to, in this case, 941. Okay, what do you think we should do? Do we add or minus? We add, right? So it's plus, in this case, 18. All right, so can we see, what do you call this? Can we see a pattern? So in this case, we know that this is third, third pattern, in a sense, third pattern. We add, right? So third pattern, we add. So every third pattern, we add. And then it goes from 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. So other than that, so I'm just going to write it here. Every third pattern we add. So over here. Okay, and we add or subtract according to multiples of 3. So in this case, what do we do from 941 to 920? So we minus, right? 941 to 920. So we can just manually do this. So we will just minus 21. So from 920 to 920, so let me write there, 920 to 896. So what do we minus? We minus 24. Okay, and then from 896 to 923. So we're just brute forcing this. So this would then just be plus. So after 24, what do you think is next? 27. So 896 to 923 is 27. Okay, we add 27. So what is the next thing then? What do you think we do after this 923? Do we plus or minus? Okay, so in this case, we actually minus. So minus what number? So after 27 is 30. Okay, minus 30. And 923 minus 30 is basically 893. Okay, and then to just double confirm this, so what we can do is we can just have 896 bracket. We will minus 36. So after, sorry, not 36, 33, because after 30 is 33, right? And this will give us 860. So that means the answer to this question is 893. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 8a. Express the following fractions as decimals, 3 out of 4. So in this case, we have 3 out of 4. It's basically just division, right? So I'm going to put the workings as well. All right, so question 8a, express the following fractions as decimal 3/4. So in this case, 3/4 over here, right? If you want to manually divide, then you can do the workings as well. But if you have do this kind of question before, then you know that 3/4 is actually a fraction that's very close to 100. So what do you mean by 100? So you actually can just multiply both the numerator and denominator by 25, and this will give us an easier, I would say, way for you to actually make this into a decimal. So 3 times 25 is 75, and 4 times 25 is 100. So in this case, 75 out of 100 is essentially the same as, you guessed it, 75 divided, let me just move this, divided by 100. And what would this give us? So 75 divided by 100, this will just give us 0.75 in this case over here, right? 0.75. So if I were to write down the workings, it's basically 3/4 is equal to 75 out of 100, which is equal to 75 divided by 100, which is 0.75. 0.75. Okay, and there you go. So that's the answer for question 8a. Let's move on to question 8b. Express the following fractions as a decimal, 6 out of 7. So in this case, we have 6 divided by 7. So what you need to do is basically add a 0 at the end, right? Or 0.0. So you know that it is a decimal place. And then from here, because 7 is already too big, so that's why we need to add a 0. So we need to minus what number that's close to 60 over here. And this should be 7 times 8, 56, or 5.6 over here. Okay, so with that said, that means it's not 8 but 0.8. So 0.8 over here. And then 60 minus 5.6, let me put this down, and this will then equal to 4, right? So let's just put here as 4. Okay, and then we will add another 0 at the end. Okay, so 40. And then what do you think it's closest to? 40. So in this case, this will be minus 35. Okay, so what times 7 will give us 35? This will be 5. And then the thing is, do we stop here? Because it says give your answer correct to 2 decimal place. So correct means we round up to 2 decimal place. So that means we need to go to 3 decimal place to round up to 2 decimal place. So 0.85, and then let me zoom out a bit. This will give us 5. Okay, and then we put 0 again. And what do we minus for 50? This will be 49. So what will give us 49? 7 times 7. So 0.857. Okay, 0.857. We can stop here. We don't have to continue. And then this will round to 2 decimal place, which is 0.85, 85 or 86. 86, since 7 is more than 5. So the answer to this is 86. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 9. Ismail had 14 kg of flour. He packed all the flour equally in 8 packets. How much flour was there in each packet? Express your answer as a mixed number in its simplest form. So in this case over here, we just have a simple division. So it's 14 divided by 8. Okay, so in this case, we do a simple division working. All right, it will look something like this. So what we can do is we can minus 8 from the get-go. So this will give us 1 point something, right? So let's put 1 at the top. Okay, 1 point something. And then what will this give us? 14 minus 8. Okay, and this will give us 6. Okay, we have 6 over here. And then we will put a 0.0 because we are going to the decimal place. So for 6.0, or actually don't need decimal place anymore, it's just the remainder. Okay, so in this case, so what will this give us? 14 divided by 8 is basically 1, and then 6 out of 8, and then kg. Right, that's it. So 14 kg divided by 8 is 1 out of 6 out of 8 kg. And that's it. All right, let's move on to the next question. So 1 out of 6 out of 8, which we need to always put in simplest form, right? So that means we have to put 1, 3 out of 4 kg. Because 1 out of 6 out of 8, we divided by 2. This will give us 1, 3 out of 4. So the answer is 1 out of 3 out of 4 kg for this question. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 10. A box of cookies at Lee Bakery cost $25. Company A bought 200 such boxes for an event. Company B bought 80 boxes to donate to charity. Find the total amount of money collected by Lee Bakery from the sale of the boxes of cookies to Company A and Company B. Okay, so in this case over here, what we can do is we can do something very simple, which is to just write down what you know. So one box of cookies is equal to $25. I like cookies. So for Company A, right, Company A, they bought 200 cookies, right? And then Company B bought 80 cookies. So we want to find the total amount of money collected from the sale of Company A and Company B. So in this case, Company A bought 200. Let's start with that first. So 200 times 25, which is equal to, I think we can put this. So 25 times 2 is 50. And then we put 2 zeros at the back. This will be $5,000. So for Company B, we have 80. And then we times 25. And what would this give us? So 80 is basically okay. I mean, you can just add this. This will actually then become 25 times 8 times 10. Right, 25 times 8 times 10. 25 times 4 is 100. So times 8 will be 200. Okay, and add a 0 will be $2,000 in this case over here. So you don't stop from there. You need to get the total, which is basically 5,000 plus 2,000, which is equal to $7,000. Okay, and that's the answer for this question. Right, let's move on to the next question. Question 11. Mr. Tan sold 3 types of tickets for a concert. The table below shows the price of each type of ticket and the number of ticket A and B sold. The total amount of money collected from sale of ticket A and ticket B was 4 times the amount of money collected from the sale of ticket C. How many tickets C was sold by Mr. Tan? Okay, so let me zoom this out a bit. Okay, so in this case, we know that ticket A costs $12 and ticket B is $7. So that means, let's write it down. Total ticket A, I would say price or amount, money collected. And this would then be equal to $12 times 40. This will give us $480. Okay, what about total ticket B money collected? Okay, so for B, it's not $12, it's $7. And then we times 36. Okay, so in this case over here, 7 times 36, if you do your calculations, $252. So now we know that total, right, A plus B, okay, in this case is 4 times the amount of money collected from the sale of C. So A plus B is basically 4 times of C. So that means for, let's do the total A and B, right? A plus B is equal to 480 plus 252. So 480, right, plus 252. And this will give us 732. Okay, so we know that A plus B is 4 times of C, like this. So C is equal to A plus B, right? A plus B, and then we divide it by 4. So that means we will have 732, right? 732 divided by 4. Okay, so in this case over here, it's basically 700 plus 32, and then we divide it by 4 in this case over here. Okay, so something that we do, oops, right, like this. So 700 plus 32 divided by 4. Okay, it will be a little bit easier for you to calculate like this, right? In this case over here. So 700 divided by 4 plus 32 divided by 4. So for me, 700 divided by 4 is 175 plus 32 divided by 4 is 8, which is 183. Okay, so $183, but we don't stop there. So this is the total amount. So this will be total amount of C, $183. So total ticket C money collected. So that means total C or ticket C is basically, since one ticket is $3, is 183 divided by 3. So this will equal to 180 divided by 3 is 60. So this will be 61 tickets. Okay, so the answer to this question is 61. There you go. So that's the answer. All right, let's move on to question 12. Every day, Jin Hang placed either a $2 notes or $5 notes into her piggy bank, which was empty at first. Every 20 days, her father also placed a $10 notes in her piggy bank. At the end of 50 days, she had $22 in her piggy bank. How many of the notes in her piggy bank at the end of the 50 days were $2 notes? Alright, so this is what we call, later on, there is a concept that we needed to use. Okay, so first thing first, we know that every day it's either $2 or $5 notes from Xingnan. So Xingnan, I'm gonna put here, every day put either $2 or $5 notes. And every, so father, let me write here, father, every 20 days, he will put a $10 note. Okay, so now 50 days or end of 50 days, she has $222 in her piggy bank. Right, so how many of the notes is $2? Okay, so first we want to have total without the father. Okay, so in this case, father for every 20 days, we want to know the total. So how much did the father collect? So not father collected, father donated. Okay, so 20 days, we want to have 50 days. So 50 days divided by 20 times 10. Okay, so because father every 20 days $10. So in a way it's like this. Father every father for 40 days is $10 times 2, which is total $20, right? So what about father for 50 days? Okay, it will still be $20 because father don't give in 10 days, right? So from 40, don't give in 10 days, right? From 40 to 50. Okay, so we know that he added $20. Okay, so that means father, so we don't need father donated. Total without the father will then be 222 minus 20, and this will give us $202. Okay, so 202. So from here, since we know that he either has $2 notes or $5 notes, okay, so how many of the notes in a piggy bank are 50 $2 notes, right? $2 notes. Okay, so in this case also, we know that the number of notes in the at the end of 50 days is equal to 50 notes. Okay, so we're going to use assumption. So let me just write here, I'm going to use assumption. So if you want to find out more about this assumption concept, then you can go to easy1.sg/blog to find out more. So assumption concept, I'm going to share with you on how to do it. So assumption concept. Okay, so first one, step 1, basically we assume that all are that all notes are $5. Okay, and then we get the total, right? So so we get the assume total, assume that all notes are 5 in this case, which in this sense is equal to, so we have 50 notes times 5, which is $250. Okay, then step 2, we get the difference of total and value. So total difference, okay, is from the, without the father is 202. So it's 250 minus 202, 250 minus 202. This will give us dollars or 48. Just report 48, and then total difference or value difference of $2 and $5 notes, which is basically, oops, I'm gonna put the bracket here, 5 minus 2, this will give us 3. Then step 3, we divide. So divide the differences to get number of $2 notes. So in this case, number of $2 notes is equal to 48 divided by 3. This will give us 16, right? And this is not the last step, right? So we want to make sure that this is the correct number, 16. So step 4, step 4 is basically to double check. So that means number of $5 notes. So we know there are 50 notes. So 50 minus 16, which is equal to 34. So total should be $202. So let's calculate. Okay, so calculate. So total is equal to 2 times 16, right? Plus 5 times 34. Okay, so what will this give us? So this will give us 32 plus 5 times 34 is basically 5 times bracket 30 plus 4. Okay, do the many way. 32 plus 30, 5 times 30 is 150 plus 5 times 4, which is 20, which is basically this, right? 5 times 30 plus 5 times 4. Okay, all right. And in this case over here, 132 is 182 plus 20, and this will give us $202. Okay, which means this is correct. Okay, let me just put here, tick, right? Total should be 202. Let's calculate. So that means the answer to this is number of $2 notes is also correct. There you go. So the answer to this question is 16. Alright, so that's it for this question. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want more of this kind of video, subscribe down below and comment down what other papers you want me to go through next. See you in the next one. Bye bye.